Hey guys, it's Julia. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I wanted to contradict myself. In the Get Ready With Me I just did, where I spilled a bunch of tea on myself and answered a bunch of questions, I mentioned wanting to do a video talking about products I've changed my mind on. Some of these are like things I used to like that I now do not like. And some of these are things I didn't like that I now like. And some of them, they're not like total, like I went from loving it to just hating it. Just things that I thought I was absolutely gonna love using and just like get a ton of use out of when I first got them. And now I'm just not really using them as much, and I wanted to touch back in with you guys because I feel like that follow-up element of the whole reviewing thing is something we don't really see a lot of on YouTube, and I wanted to just kind of follow up on my opinions on some of the things that I have changed my mind about. So I hope you guys enjoy this one. It's gonna be a bit of a shorter video.
That is not correct.
Because I don't really have a ton of products here that I've changed my mind on, but I do have a few drastic ones. So I hope you guys enjoy this one, and let's get into it. Alright, so I'm going to start off with one that I think might be the most shocking in this video, and it's not that I don't like this anymore. I actually still really enjoy this one, and I think it's an overall really good palette. I just haven't been using it as much as I thought I would when I first reviewed this one. So the ANASTASIA Beverly Hills NORVINA palette. Super excited when this one dropped. I just love the color story. I thought it was absolutely stunning and very, just like encapsulating what NORVINA is.
Oh my god, queen!
I was also just really excited to add some like cool tone mattes to my collection from ABH, and I love purple, obviously. So I thought this was going to be something I was going to be using very, very often. And when I first reviewed this one, I did give it a good review. I did like it. I had some issues with the shade Wild Child, which I still despise. And I mentioned there was a little bit of shimmer in some of the mattes, but it didn't really bother me that much. I've just kind of found myself not using this one as much as I thought I would. Just in general, if I'm gonna reach for an ABH palette, I normally reach for Soft Glam or Modern Renaissance. And the color in here that was really unique called Soul, this is like the shade everyone was freaking out about. Rightfully so. It's beautiful. But not on me. I find it very, very hard to pull the shade off on my skin tone. I am Japanese, so I do have very yellow undertones, and they come through my skin, so anytime I wear something that's a little bit on the cooler tone side, this one in my crease makes me look like I'm actually dying. I can really only use this one as an accent shade, but I can't make this the whole focal point of my eye look, otherwise I look very sick.
No, 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 no.
But talking about it in this video has made me just like look at the color scheme again and remind myself why I liked it so much. So I will definitely try to use this one more often, but the initial excitement was really, really, really hype. And now I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's a good palette. It's not my favorite. And I feel like I should share that with you because it's a bit more of a lukewarm response than I was having earlier on. But now that I've kind of let the excitement wear off, it's okay. But this next one, oh boy.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
This was actually my favorite foundation for a really long time, so I'm kind of shocked that I'm not a huge fan of it anymore. But again, as I mentioned, my skin's changed quite a bit in the last year. I've gotten a little bit drier since I have been like clearing out my acne, and I found that just in general, AHAs tend to work for me in skincare, so that's dried out my skin quite a bit. Lately, I've been just kind of leaning into the more natural skin finish, not necessarily dewy, but just like less matte, if that makes sense. And a lot of the foundations that I used to love, I've just been trying out again and noticing like that looks like shit. So one of my holy grail foundations for a really long time, and I think I called this one my ride or die a few times as well, was the Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation. And I really loved how this one looked on my skin. And even now, if I wear it on my cheeks, it's beautiful, but if I put it anywhere near my forehead or my nose or anywhere that has a little bit of a drier patch, it looks so nasty. Whenever I have a little bit of dry texture, because this is more of a full coverage kind of matte foundation, but also somehow it gets kind of oily at the end of the day, I don't know. So I don't totally hate it. I'm still trying to use it up. I have the shade Bisque. And despite my not loving this one anymore, I still do think I'm going to be buying and trying out the liquid version of this, the Vanish Cream Foundation, because it's Hourglass. I'm a hoe for Hourglass. So this is no longer my love. It just doesn't really work for my skin type, but I still think it's a really good foundation for certain skin types. On the more positive side, I have one that I really used to hate, and now I actually kind of high-key, low-key really, really love.
Bitch, no.
When I first tried the KYLIE Cosmetics lip kits, it was before I even had my YouTube channel, so I think it was, oh god, two and a half years ago.
Lipstick and my Valentino white.
Love Bite. Stained the crap out of my lips. It was super drying, and I thought, I was like, oh, this is the worst formula I've ever tried in my life. So for a while, I kind of swore off all KYLIE lip kits because I felt like they were super ridiculously crazy drying. The colors are beautiful, but I felt like the formula really wasn't there. But recently I was remembering, hey, I really like that color Kristen, so I might as well buy a refill. I don't know if she changed the formula or if it was just good all the time and I was crazy. Probably that one. I love this formula. It's actually so good. Yes, it's gonna be a little bit drying. That's just like any liquid lipstick, but I don't feel like it's any more drying than the Fenty ones that I like, or even the Colourpop Ultra Matte, the new formula, which I think is also pretty good. They're actually pretty manageable, so I really like this one, and I decided to buy a few more shades. I have a couple more upstairs, but these are my current new like favorite liquid lipstick at the moment, which I didn't think I would ever say. They're just like a really nice thin texture, and they kind of have this like almost like thin paint-esque texture, so they feel pretty light on the lips, and then as a result, they don't like create that like cakey, like gross heavy effect, which I really hate in a lot of liquid lipsticks. Also, I think KYLIE just does some of the best colors on the market, so I really love the different shades she comes out with in her lip kits, and yeah, I actually really like the formula now. So thankfully, I decided to try them out again because companies are always reformulating and always just like revamping things, and if I hadn't decided to get Kristen again, I wouldn't have discovered my new favorite formula. So I really enjoy these now, and I'm so glad I tried them out again. So I don't have this product anymore. I have it written on a sticky note, but I wanted to mention Violet Floss. Might have mentioned in one of my earliest YouTube videos. Please don't go back there. I think I might have said that the Laura Lee Violet Floss palette was one of the best formulas ever. Thank you guys for giving me some time. Back then, I probably had like maybe 5 different eyeshadow palettes, so I thought that everything I put on my eyes was beautiful. Plot twist, it really wasn't. The shimmers were fine, but the mattes, I do not like the Violet Floss matte formula, and to solidify that, I tried a couple of their other palettes, and I don't have any of them now anymore because I returned them all. So I tried some of their mini palettes from Sephora. They came out with like a collection of 4 mini palettes. I tried their more colorful one. I also tried their Holy Grail palette, which is the most like best-selling palette on their website. I feel like A, they come out with the same color story in pretty much every single palette besides that more colorful one. And B, the matte formula is just not really my thing. It can get really, really patchy when you try to blend it out, especially with the more colorful shades. And I don't know, it's a pretty expensive brand too. So for an indie brand, you'd think it'd be a little bit less expensive, but it's about the same price as an Anastasia palette. And honestly, I think any Anastasia palette, including NORVINA, including Subculture, is better. Oh, okay, I have another stick foundation in this video, and I think I reviewed this one sometime in fall, and I actually really enjoyed it back then. It was the Colourpop No Filter Stick Foundation. Maybe this might just be a seasonal thing that doesn't work for me, but right now, really not loving the Colourpop No Filter Stick Foundation as much as I did when I first tried it out. So I have the shade Fair 25W. I feel like it just clings to my dry patches. Again, that's kind of like what the No Filter Foundation is. The liquid one as well does the same thing to me. It just kind of emphasizes whatever dry patches I have. So I've tried this like I think 4 times recently, and all 4 times I've either just like absolutely hated how my skin looked throughout the day, or like just wiped it off and started over. So I might revisit this during summer, but currently I'm not really loving it. My last Shop Miss A new releases review, I reviewed the AOA highlighters. So these are $1 each. They're just like loose highlighter pigment shades, and they're very, very shiny. I said I didn't like them because they were very, very glittery, and I still think they are. So the white shade is the biggest like glitter bomb. This is the shade Moonbeam. Def would not recommend this one if you're going for like a face highlighter, but I've been using this one as like an eye pigment. So it's a really, really sparkly like micro glitter pigment. So gorgeous on the eyes. And then the other shades I feel like are a little bit less glittery than the white one. So I've actually been using the shade Astro. It's just like a basic like pearly champagne shade. It can be a little bit glittery if you don't blend it out, but if I just spend like an extra 20 to 30 seconds just buffing it in with circular motions, it like just kind of melts into the skin, and then setting spray on top of it, beautiful. So I've actually been really enjoying these now. They're definitely the most blinding highlighters that AOA Studio offers, but for $1, I think they're insane. So if you're wanting a good glittery eye pigment, go for the white one. If you're wanting just like a regular highlighter, these are pretty nice. I may or may not have said about a year ago that the Pat McGrath Matte Trans lipsticks, you probably avoid saying like this is the best lipstick formula in the world, because if you ever find something better, it's like, the fuck? They're good. I don't hate them. I still have quite a few of them, as you can see, and I actually like the formula. I think it's nice. So I have these shades Omi. This is a full size, and then I have 2 minis in Flesh 3 and 1995. I think these go on very creamy. I think it's a really unique texture, but they are very dry, and they definitely have this kind of like powdery matte texture to where I feel like if I was gonna wear these for like 8 hours Plus, they would stay on really, really well, but I would feel very, very uncomfortable doing it. So they're definitely one of the more heavy-duty cream lipsticks. So if you like a bullet lipstick like this, but you don't want to wear liquid lipstick, this will give you that longevity, and this will give you that really, really intense color payoff. Definitely not the best lipstick formula in the world. I don't know why I said that, and that's why they're in this video, because I said something that I don't necessarily agree with anymore, so I wanted to backpedal. So I've had a tenuous relationship with Natasha Denona over the past about year or so. I started off her year trying out her Tropic palette, which was the revamp of her formula. So she released like a new formula, and there were some mixed reviews. I thought the Tropic palette was okay. The mattes were nice. The shimmers kind of suffered a bit. I thought that her regular shimmers were beautiful. She's also come out with a bunch of mini palettes, which I've personally really, really hated. And then as she's kind of experimented with this new formula, I've really been active in just like standing her original formula. Her original formula, so what's in the Star palettes, the big $230 palettes, the Sunset, the Lila, or any of the like regular 5-pan palettes that are $50. Nice for a couple months, and then it dries out, and then it doesn't perform very well. So I don't really have a ton of palettes in my collection where I feel like genuinely there is an expiration date. I kind of just use powder products until they just stop working very well, which is not very often, especially because I store my eyeshadow palettes in darker areas. But Natasha Denona, I feel like they genuinely have change in consistency, and they're just not that creamy, buttery, smooth texture that they used to be. So normally I wouldn't really think that much of it, because of course eyeshadows can just like change over time. But I had the palette for like maybe a year and a half, and for a $50 palette with 5 shades in it.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions. Number one, how dare you?
These I keep in here, and I don't honestly use them that often. The shimmers are still nice. I do have to use them wet because they are a little bit drier now. But the matte, I feel like really, really changed and suffered and didn't really hold up as well. So I just wanted to give that little update. I don't think Natasha's palettes are the best in terms of longevity, which kind of sucks because they're really expensive. So I used to be a pretty big fan of the Tatcha lip balms, which is probably the most unnecessary skincare purchase. Even like Glossier is $12, and that's really good. And then on the more expensive side, if you're really gonna splurge, I think by Beauty Agave lip mask is better than the Tatcha one. But I had a few that ended up decluttering because the packaging was stunning, absolutely beautiful. The balm inside really wasn't anything that special. It was a lip balm. It didn't really do anything super moisturizing like the Bite Beauty Agave lip mask does. It smelled fine. It didn't smell that amazing. It just smelled like any other Tatcha skincare product. I don't think those are worth the money, and I was actually like trying to convince myself that I really, really love them. But they're fine. They're like a lip balm. It's a lip balm. You don't need to pay $30 for lip balm. For a hot minute, I was only using the NYX matte liquid liner in the shade black if I ever did a liquid eyeliner or any eyeliner. And I really, really, really sucked at doing liner for the longest time. So this was kind of the only thing I would use just because it is definitely the finest point I've ever seen for a liner. Generally just thought that like felt tip liners dried out way too quickly for it to be worth it, but I just found out that that's because I was using bad felt tip liners. So I think I was only using the e.l.f. $2 one for a really long time, and that's probably why I wasn't loving felt tip liners. Now I really like the Fenty Fly Liner. The NYX Epic Ink Liner is really good as well, but I've just kind of been embracing the felt tip, and I haven't bought this in a long time. So it's good, especially because it is a like very fine tip, but I've moved on to bigger and better things. And this is no longer the only liquid liner I ever use. Speaking of Fenty though, I have the Fenty Mademoiselle lipsticks, and I only have 2 shades now just because I discovered I was not a huge fan of the formula. I honestly really, really convinced myself that this was just such a bomb formula for me. Of course, the colors are beautiful. I think Rihanna just does such a fun job with some of her color schemes, and a lot of the time it's not necessarily like wearable or attainable or just like something I would wear in the everyday, but it's fun. So I really appreciated that she came out with some really fun colors. I personally have the orange shade called Saucy, which I never wear because it's bright orange. And then I have a pink shade which I wear a little bit more often. It's called Candy Venom. I'm not a huge pink lips person, but a hot pink like this I can really get down with. So I don't wear these that often, not just because the colors are a little bit out there. I do like the colors a lot, but because they're the kind of matte lipstick that just like skips on the lips. So in contrast, the Pat McGrath ones that I just talked about, I feel like even though they are a very, very dry texture, they're not dry when you first put them on. They do apply extremely like creamily. They just glide across the lips. You just kind of have to like finesse them a bit. They kind of skip, and they're not the most like pleasantly creamy to apply. But also they are a little bit heavier, and they can go patchy, especially with some of the brighter, crazier shades like this. I also find this to be a problem with like some of the darker shades, but you have to like layer them quite a bit to get to that nice opaque color, and then they just look super heavy and and not nice. So I only really wear these if I really want like a big punch of statement color, but they're not the best formula in my opinion. Also, the packaging is beautiful, but does feel a little bit cheap. This is plastic. Even though my foundation tastes have gone more to the luminous side, I've never been a huge person for luminous blushes. I really like the Hourglass ambient blushes, but when I first tried out the AOA Lumi blushes, I really enjoyed these ones. But as I've used them more, I think I really got through like the top layer. So obviously they are a baked shimmery blush, and most baked products have like a top layer to them. But as I've used these more often, I think the top layer was beautiful. It was a very nice like flush of a little bit of color and a nice luminous sheen to your skin. And I feel like now that I've gotten through the first layer, it's just really hard to apply these in a way that's going to blend out nicely. It just kind of goes patchy, especially because it is more of a marble texture, which is beautiful to look at. And for $1, they're not bad. So I liked these for about the first like 10 to 20 uses. But now that I've gotten through that like top layer, they just look pretty, but they don't look nice on the cheeks, which is unfortunate. I feel bad mentioning another Fenty product in one video, but as I said, my skin has gotten a lot drier, so you can probably see this one coming. The Fenty Pro Filter Foundation. I can't use this one alone at all. I've tried many times to use this one alone in the past couple months, and every single time it has looked so nasty, particularly right here on my forehead where most of my acne used to be, and then on my chin as well, a little bit even on my cheeks, like right here under my eyes. For some reason there are some dry patches over here, but this will cling to them. I do think this one has some of the best like wear time or longevity, so I sometimes mix this one in with very, very dewy foundations or even just like more skin-like foundations, but I can't wear this one on its own. I have to mix in like an oil or like another dewier foundation, as I said, just to make it less insanely drying on my skin. And it's actually a very good mixing foundation, so I feel like it does like play with the textures of other things, gives them a little bit more life to them, but also not make it super dry. So I do think it's a nice mixing foundation, but on its own, it's not for me, and I fully understand that it's going to be great for people who have oilier skin, but that's not me, especially now that I have like normal skin with some dry patches. This is no longer like something I can just like throw on and feel good.
That's my opinion!
I honestly didn't think that anyone would notice I decluttered this palette, but I had a request, I want to say like 2 months ago. Someone was like, can you do a tutorial with the Pat McGrath La Vie en Rose palette? And I was like, low-key got rid of that. Pat McGrath came out with a bunch of her like mini mothership palettes, which I thought was a really cool concept. She had 2 more neutral ones and then a purple and pink one, which I was all about that color scheme. She also came out with I think 2 or 3 new ones, so those ones look beautiful as well. But I bought the La Vie en Rose palette because it was just gorgeous color scheme. You don't really see a lot of like bigger, more luxurious brands committing to that kind of like full color scheme. They normally throw in like one purple and then they're like, it's a purple palette. No, it's not. It's not. Got it, the matte, there was one matte, and it was a very nice matte. The other 5 shades were shimmers, and they were good. It was a really, really good formula. Of course, it's Pat McGrath. What do you expect?
I won't hesitate, bitch!
However, the main reason I think Pat McGrath's big mothership palettes are worth it is because she puts like a couple shades of those shimmer pigments in there. So those are the shades you'll see her doing Instagram eye looks with. They're just the insanely like wet, metallic foiled shimmer shades. So I have the Mothership 2, I think, and it has 4 of those in there, and I think that genuinely does make it super special and almost worth it. Almost, I said. I don't think anything's worth $125. But the mini palettes didn't have that in there, and without those shades, I honestly didn't find myself reaching for those palettes as often. So if that palette had been like $30 or $40, I could have been okay with it, but it was like $50. And I felt real bad. Every single day that I saw it sitting there and not being used, I just felt really bad. So I ended up selling it on Poshmark and just getting a little bit of the money that I spent back because it was over $50 and I wasn't really using it as often as I thought I would. So it was good. I liked it. I did end up getting rid of it. And now I don't think I would buy any of her mini palettes unless they came out with one that was like all shimmer pigments, in which case I would probably die actually before I bought it, but yeah. All right, so that's looking like it's it. Thank God, because I don't want to show you guys more things that I've changed my mind on. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please let me know in the comments down below, do you have any products like this that you really thought you loved for a long time and then just like changed your mind, or maybe you hated them for a while then revisited it and now you like it? Do you feel the same way about any of these products? Because I guarantee I cannot be the only one who doesn't love the Hourglass foundation. There's got to be someone out there. I know everyone loves that foundation, but I can't be the only one. In the arms of the angel. Anyways, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and join the growing family of almost 11,000 subscribers. Holy crap. I'm such a lucky girl, honestly. Also, make sure you are following me on Instagram to see makeup looks. I don't know if I posted this one. Maybe. It's really, really light. But make sure you stick around because I love you and I want to see your face again. And if you made it to the very end of this video, I love you. You get to see the bonus meme. Bye.
What if I'm the monster?